Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a debate on the merits of labor contracts that allow police to take part in union activities during work hours. And we'll learn how ASU, the Mayo Clinic, and TGen are working together to fight breast cancer. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. February home prices in the Phoenix area increased by 23% over the previous year. That's tops in the nation, ahead of San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Atlanta. Overall, the U.S. saw a 9.3% increase. That's due to most part to a growing number of buyers and a limited supply of homes. A bill that requires Arizona cities and counties to sell weapons that are surrendered during buyback events has been signed into law. The move prohibits municipalities to continue the practice of destroying voluntarily surrendered weapons. The supporters of the bill argue that destroying surrendered property was a waste of taxpayer resources. And the governor also signed into law a bill that makes it easier to fire low-performing teachers. School boards can now put teachers with the lowest rated performance evaluations on probation, which in turn makes it easier for the teacher to be fired with little notice. Well, a recent court injunction stops Phoenix police officers from doing union work while on the job. The Phoenix Law Enforcement Association, a police union, says it will fight the injunction, which was issued after a lawsuit filed by the Goldwater Institute. Joining us now is Clint Bolick, the lead attorney for the Goldwater Institute, and speaking in favor of union release time is Mark Spencer, the Southwest Project Coordinator for Judicial Watch. Spencer was formerly with the Phoenix Law Enforcement Association. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. Let's define terms. What does release time mean?
This is when full-time city employees are released from what they were hired to do, in this case patrolling the streets, and allowed to do union work full-time. This goes on not just in the police department, but throughout the city of Phoenix and in most cities across Arizona.
How do you define release time?
Release time is a benefit that is purchased by Phoenix police officers. In other words, the city manager comes to the table and says, I want you guys to do a job, run the gunfights. And those police officers say, we'll run to those gunfights, but you need to pay us. So the city manager provides a $330 million total comp package, wages, insurance, vacation, sick leave, and then 0.005 or 0.5% of that total comp package they pay for, those police officers buy through reduced wages 6 full-time release positions to make sure they have representation.
Sounds like it's negotiated in a labor contract.
Oh, it certainly is, but unfortunately what is being done is that the mission of the Phoenix Police Department and other departments in Phoenix is being diverted toward union activities. These officers, and Mark was one of them, report to union headquarters. They lobby, in some instances, against the city's own position. They collect guaranteed overtime. They qualify for the same pensions as police officers who risk their jobs every day. This is a gift to the police union and to other unions, and that's exactly what the judge found.
Does this union work include lobbying, political activism, these sorts of things?
Absolutely it does, and here's what it's all about. Ted, you don't have Phoenix police officers' best interest in mind. Nice guy, but you don't. It's not your job. The Goldwater Institute doesn't have Phoenix police officers' best interest in mind. The chief doesn't, the city manager doesn't. So who has their best interest in mind? They're willing to take $322 less per officer per year to make sure they have access to 24/7 representation. That's crucial.
Ted, in the private sector, the union members would be paying for this out of their own pockets. They're not here. I would love to see the police officers get that $322 and figure out what to do with it. Guess what? They wouldn't be buying a diversion of police officers to sit at union desks instead of doing their job, and that's what they're afraid of.
It's clearly not a gift, because police officers agree to run to gunfights for a total comp package, and part of that, 0.5% of that total compensation, which equals $322 per officer, is used to purchase those released positions. So it's clearly not a gift. What's happening here is we're using the courts to push a political agenda. We don't like the way police officers spend their money. So we're going to tell them you can spend it on health insurance and dental insurance and life insurance, but when it comes to job insurance, you're not going to spend it. So we get an injunction.
Real quickly, I hear in the argument it's employee money. It's not an additional expense.
It's not employee money. It is money that could be used to hire more police officers. We've had a hiring freeze for several years. Just how many officers could we hire for that additional $1 million? This money is being used against the city's interests. When we buy health insurance, it promotes the city's interests. Just this last year, the police union, solicited 100 grievances against the city while being paid by the taxpayers to do that, to challenge the police uniform policy. That is something that should be paid by union dues, not with taxpayer money.
Why not pay for this that you've mentioned that comes out of salaries, employee money? Why not use union dues for this?
Why would you use taxpayer money when you have access to officers who are willing to take a reduced wage? Even in her ruling, she makes the comment, with 2,647 police officers, release time would cost each police officer $322. So what happened here now is a judge came in with a gavel and a robe and said, injunction, I'm going to take that release time from you. Those officers paid for that $322 in released wages. If you do that with a stocking cap and a gun, that's called robbery. Make these officers whole if you're going to take that $322 away from them. They're still running the gunfights, and they're not getting their compensation.
How do you respond to that?
I respond to that by saying if there is robbery going on here, it's the union robbing the taxpayers. And that's exactly how the judge saw it. Our gift clause prohibits gifts to private entities like unions. And here, she looked at the contract and she said, what are the taxpayers getting in return for this money that we're giving to the union? And the answer was absolutely nothing, except for a bunch of headaches.
What are the taxpayers getting in return?
And that's a good question, because you have an asset, a unique investment. It's called a police officer. It can be $1 million asset. You have intensive training. And to expose that asset, that unique investment, to flippant accusations, the police department hires 30 investigators and supervisors to investigate misconduct against Phoenix police officers. Who defends them? Taxpayers go out of their way, rightfully so, to make sure a child molester has a public defender. Police officers go out of their way, out of their own pockets, to make sure that police officers have representation for allegations.
Actually, Ted, 2 police officers are on standby 24 hours a day to handle those kinds of complaints. That is not affected at all by this injunction. What is affected is the sort of stuff that Mark did before he went on retirement and on pension. He was lobbying full-time, not for the city, but for the union. But the taxpayers were paying him to do that. They didn't hire Mark to lobby. They hired him to patrol the streets.
Does some of this activity, though, include grievance matters, disciplinary matters, training, task forces, a whole host of things? Maybe lobbying is included in the mix, but are there not other things that are beneficial to the city?
What the city did this year was the city came back and said, let's try to fix this problem. Let's list the things that PLE is going to do for the city, like training and that sort of thing, and we'll pay for that. But the lobbying, you guys have to pay for. The political activities, the grievances, you have to pay for. Guess what PLE said to that? They said, we'll, quote, torch this place, end quote, if that change is made. That's the kind of attitude we see. And by the way, the union negotiators negotiating that contract are paid with taxpayer dollars.
What about that change? What's wrong with that idea for change?
Well, I think what's important is and here's what's alarming from a conservative point of view, is when we try to pursue legislation from the bench. You know, I can't get the voters to change their minds, says Goldwater. I can't get elected officials to change their minds, says Goldwater. So I'll get a judge to legislate from the bench and change the contract at expense of $322. It was her ruling to the officers. You know, I had a police chief tell us, you keep your boys on a leash. The chief's job isn't to have police officers' best interests in mind. It's to run the police department. And so due process is something that police officers are willing to pay for out of their own pocket.
I want to kind of get back to what he just said, basically in a 30,000-foot view, and that is, people elect their lawmakers to do. We've kind of had a similar conversation regarding Glendale and the Coyote. You elect your city council people, you elect mayors to do the city's work. They believe that these kinds of contracts do the city's work. Why is the Goldwater Institute getting involved?
What's the first thing that an elected official does before he or she starts enacting legislation? They take an oath to the Constitution. The Constitution is above any kind of law, and it's certainly above any kind of contract. So you go to court to protect constitutional rights. We do it over and over again. And in this instance, the judge said, you know what? This contract exceeds the constitutional authority of this city.
The judge also said that this places public funds at the disposal of the union, that the mission of the police department is the safety of the community, and this does not advance a public purpose. Is the judge wrong here?
I think she's clearly wrong, and here's where, and that's right. Does it advance a public purpose? Does that release time advance a public purpose? Let me ask you this question. Does vacation time advance a public purpose? Does sick leave advance a public person? Does dental insurance advance a public purpose? So I take my kids to Disneyland for a week. Does that advance public purpose? So let's see, we want our officers healthy. We want our officers have access to life insurance, but we don't want our officers to have access to representation. They don't like the way police officers are spending their money, so they want to change it through an injunction.
Ted, one of the things that the union folks did this year on union time, the police chief asked some of them to wear taser cams on their helmets. The union put out a notice saying, don't obey the chief. Don't obey the chief, and if he forces you to do it, we're going to file a grievance. They threatened to follow the police chief to see if he was talking to other unions about the uniform issue. Are these things advancing the public purpose? Absolutely not. Are they legitimate functions of a union? Yes, but the union should be paid with union dues, not taxpayer money.
Back to Mark's point regarding vacation time, sick time, other things that are negotiated into contracts. Does the Goldwater Institute, are you going to start getting involved if someone looks like they're taking too much vacation time?
Of course not. But what the Constitution forbids is making public funds available to a third party. Would the city object if officers were placed suddenly at the disposal of McDonald's, for example? Of course it would. And that's exactly what's happening here. PLEA is an independent entity. It is a labor union. It has its own interests. And in fact, a lot of the police officers are not even members of PLEA, and yet they're paying for this stuff.
Bottom line, it sounds like the argument is tax dollars are being used to promote union interests. Is that accurate, A? And B, how do you respond to that?
Bottom line is, she says in her own ruling, each officer pays $322 less in wages to acquire this .005. In other words, Clint, I'll help you with the math. That's 1/2 of a percentage of that total compensation.
$1 million in the aggregate.
$1.7 million out of a $330 million contract. Health insurance, Cigna's a third-party provider, but we contract with them. These officers knowingly work in a volatile environment. Let me tell you something. Everybody loves a firefighter. But when the police officer comes to your house, normally a law's been broken and there's a victim. And it's easy to generate false allegations. So you have this asset that's investigated. Why is due process less important than a vacation or sick leave?
Last point, last question. Critics say the Goldwater Institute is basically union bashing here, that you're not saving saving taxpayer money is a ruse. This is just another way for GI to go after unions.
Public employee unions around the country are bankrupting cities and states. The excesses have gone on for too long. The union should do what they feel is in the best interests of their members, but they should do so with their own resources, not taxpayer dollars.
We have to stop it right there. Gentlemen, great discussion. Good to have
Sorry,
you both
we
here.
couldn't disagree more.
Well, you did well enough. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
When London Bridge was completed in 1831, the automobile didn't even exist. By 1968, it may not have been falling down, but the bridge was sinking under the crush of modern traffic. So the city of London decided to sell it to a developer in Arizona. Just off of State Route 95 in Lake Havasu City is a plaque memorializing the dedication and reopening of the bridge in October 1971. The two-day gala included an elaborate dinner attended by 800 people, including then Arizona Governor Jack Williams and Sir Peter Studd, Lord Mayor of London. Behind the fireworks and go-go girls was over 3 years of risk-taking and hard work. It was the dream of C.V. Wood and Robert McCulloch, who were developing the fledgling town. The bridge was purchased for over $2 million. The 22 million ton structure was dismantled, each stone numbered, and shipped 10,000 miles to Long Beach, California, and then trucked to Lake Havasu's Colorado riverbank. It took 40 workers 3 years to reconstruct the bridge. The original 19th century construction crew of 800 took 7 years, and 40 laborers died. The bridge survived the German Blitz of London during World War II. Its light poles are made from cannons seized from Napoleon's army at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. The metal melted down and forged into lamps. Today, the London Bridge attracts over 1.5 million sun-seeking visitors a year, exceeded only by the Grand Canyon.
Arizona State University, the Mayo Clinic, and TGen have joined forces to fight breast cancer. The three organizations have formed the Breast Cancer Interest Group, or BIG Group, to help research some of the toughest breast cancers to treat. Joining us now is Dr. Karen Anderson, a member of the BIG Group. She has a joint appointment at ASU and Mayo Clinic. It's good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Talk about this collaboration. First of all, exactly what is BIG, and what about this collaboration?
So a couple of years ago, we realized that different centers within the Valley really had different types of expertise in both researching and treating breast cancer. And we really felt that we needed to come together and really collaborate and join forces to be able to target some of the most resistant types of breast cancers and really be able to do that.
And were those the areas of focus? Triple-negative breast cancer, we've heard about that one, and this endocrine-resistant breast. What exactly are we talking about here?
So breast cancers are very different. They're very heterogeneous. There are many, many different types. Those are two particular types that are resistant to current treatments, and we really need to be able to develop new treatments and new types of ways of diagnosing and going after those cancers. And
those are things that basically chemo's all you got, right?
Well, yeah, so either there's chemotherapy, there's hormone therapy, and for both of those types of cancers, there's limited amounts of opportunities really to treat those types of cancer. So we need to come up with new drugs, new combinations of drugs to be able to get there.
We keep hearing about testosterone and testosterone receptors being a key in this kind of research. Talk to us about that.
So some breast cancers express the receptors, the androgen receptors, that are present normally in like prostate type cancers. And so there's a whole set of studies that are starting to look at, can we use some of the drugs that we use to treat prostate cancer, can we also use those to treat breast cancer? But I think we need to understand which cancers are going to benefit from that, how they work, how to combine them with the therapy we have.
How do you understand that, or better understand that?
Well, I think what we're starting to understand is how those receptors work, which cancers are really expressing those, how we can detect that, and then looking at trying to combine those therapies.
As far as genomics, the impact of genomics on developing treatment?
I can't underestimate it enough. Right now what we're doing is both obtaining different breast cancer samples from women with breast cancer and asking what is different between these cancers. What is different between how those cancers develop, because if you're going to develop therapies, you need to understand the heterogeneity. And so what we do is a combination, TGen brings such expertise in genomics, really deep expertise in how we think about not just mutations, but how the genome rearranges and all these different parts. And so we can look at both the genomics and the transcriptomics, which is how the RNA works. And we at ASU also work on proteomics, what's difference in the proteins. And if you integrate all of that, you can start to understand how those cells will respond to therapy.
Regenerative medicine, is that what we're talking about here as well, or is that a kind of a different offshoot?
Well, it's a different offshoot, but if you can get to the primary cells and you can get them to grow, then we can start to push on them with different drugs and different combinations to understand what is actually going to be used for treating women with breast cancer in real time. Can we actually take cancers and try to understand in real time so we can target their therapies very specifically?
It's almost like find the environment they like.
Exactly.
And go in there and cause them some harm.
Exactly.
The collaborative effect now, you got ASU, you got TGen, you got Mayo Clinic. What are the challenges of getting all these big brains together here to fight breast cancer?
Well, we have a common mission, and that makes it much simpler. And, the mission is driven by what our patients need. And from that, there's logistical challenges, obviously. We have 3 different centers, 3 different institutions with different things. We meet regularly, and we think about projects. We develop grants, we co-publish papers. And right now, we're actually starting to develop new clinical trials based on some of this to try to bring these forward for people here.
So how far along is medicine in general in just identifying and treating these aggressive forms of cancer?
I think we're not far along enough yet. I mean, there's no question. If you ask any woman who has any of these cancers, they have to go through chemotherapies, they go through hormone therapies, they go through a lot of surgery and radiation, and still we can't say, you're cured. We never get to say that. And so we have a long way to go, and we've made strides. There's no question that survival rates are steadily getting better. But it comes at a cost. It's a lot of therapies, and we'd like to be able to target these better. And for some women, we need newer, better drugs for this.
Take us back, though, 5 years. Mm-hmm. Take us back 10 years. What more do we know now than we did then?
I think what we're really appreciating now is, like I said, that heterogeneity. What is different, both between patients with cancer, the fact that they, even though on the outside they may look the same, but internally in their genomics and everything else, they're different. And also, even within a cancer, they can be different. And I think that's something the whole field has really started to appreciate.
So what should we watch for from now on as far as research? What's the next, the big news or the big focus, I guess?
What's the big focus?
Yeah.
Big focus from big?
Yes.
I think that a number of the projects, one is on androgen receptors and what we can do. I think that will be coming out. We're starting to develop new vaccine and immunotherapies. We have a lot of expertise here in the Valley on that, and trying to develop new protocols and trials, trying to recruit the immune system to fight breast cancer when chemotherapy and hormone therapy doesn't work. And really getting at, like I said, the genomics and how can we find this earlier. I think diagnosis is an important part of that.
I think an important part as well is the fact that there is a TGen, there is a Mayo
Yes.
Clinic, there is an ASU. Talk about the Valley's status, the Valley's importance in this particular line of medicine and research.
Well, I think I think the Valley is emerging as really a very dynamic and I would say a very innovative research endeavor. And it's absolutely state of the art. I would say as a scientist, I find it very exciting to work here. And we have the opportunities with these types of collaborations to have an impact in ways that I think is really unique.
And as far as you're concerned, there is optimism, is there not? I mean, people watching right
Absolutely.
now, everyone knows someone who has had some
Yes.
sort of contact with breast cancer, whether
Yes.
it's immediate family or somewhere down the line. Is there optimism?
Oh, absolutely. I think, first of all, the majority of women who get breast cancer will live long and healthy lives and will survive their breast cancer, in part because of the treatments and in part because of the newer treatments that are coming down the pike. What we use to treat now, what I use now compared to 5 years ago and 10 years ago is completely different. It changes every single year. I think women and their physicians and these centers have to really keep up with what is the newest, the latest medications, what are the newest treatments that we can do, and bring that here to the women in the Valley.
Well, that certainly does sound encouraging. It's good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You betcha. Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, we'll have another midweek legislative update with the Arizona Capital Times, and we'll hear about a new link that's been found between red meat and heart disease. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.